Hey guys, Yankee Jeff, but it's not your fault. Thanks for tuning in today. I do appreciate you guys stopping by my recovery enabling and help channel. Tonight we're going to talk about the Serenity Prayer, the full Serenity Prayer. A lot of people don't realize the Serenity Prayer is actually a lot larger and a little bit more in depth than what the one we recite every day at our meetings. Is actually a longer version of it, and we'll talk about it today. But before we go any farther, please like and subscribe. Please get this content out to people who deserve to see it. People need to get this information, maybe they can possibly help themselves get back on track and stop enabling, right? So let's talk about the Serenity Prayer, and I'm going to stop as we go along, kind of break it down each individual parts. Okay, first, of course, we all start with, God grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, courage to change the things I can, wisdom to know the difference. Let's talk about that step by step. God, of course, our higher power, can't do anything without him, grant me the serenity. So what we're asking for is we're asking for him to grant us, in other words, to bequeath us with something, to give us something, the ability to make something happen. Serenity. Oh, wow. What is serenity? Serenity is many different things and many different people. Serenity can be peace. It could be a sense of calm. It could be a sense of understanding, a sense of completeness or knowingness, to where we finally have the ability to clear our minds, clear our thoughts, and clear our spirit to the point where we can accept what's coming next. So that's what serenity is. Serenity is a peaceness, a calmness, a kind of like a shaking of the Etch-a-Sketch, like we talked about earlier in some of these earlier videos, okay? To accept the things I cannot change. How difficult is it for us to accept things? Oh, Lord, accept things. It's one thing to go ahead and say, okay, yeah, I get that, but. And that's what we do a lot of times is, yeah, I understand that, but I know, but, well, you got to lose the but, which we're all trying to do here, get close to my New Year's resolution, went off the rails a long time ago, but different kind of but, the excuses, lose the interruptions of the ability to have the serenity, to accept it, to go ahead and just say, okay, Lord, I submit, accept, submit, give up, acquiesce, surrender, all different words we can use there, to accept the things I cannot change. You're going to come to the realization on this journey to serenity, for all us enablers and codependents out there, that you don't have the ability to change most things. Okay, you have no ability to change anything in your loved one's life. Nothing. You can't make them stop using. So that's what's called wisdom. Okay, knowing to, oh, look, that's next. Courage to change the things I can. Courage to change things you can. Okay, so what can you change? You can change you. Okay, and that takes a lot of courage, takes a lot of strength to look yourself in the mirror and go, I'm wrong about this. I need to change this about myself. I need to do better about this, that, and the other thing. When it comes to your loved one, you can't fix anything. You can't change anything in their life. All you can do is love them. Just love them. And that's it, because the only person that can change them is them. So knowing that, having the courage to face the things in your life you can change and accepting those things. But what a lot of us do a lot of times is we know what the things are that we can change, but we prefer to ignore them because we don't want to change. We don't want to. We don't want to change those things in our life because we grab onto them a lot of times. A lot of us become addicted to our loved ones. Addiction. We do. We feel like we have to fix everything. We have to feel like we are the only one that can fix it, and understand the fact that we can't. Oh my God, now what are we going to do in our lives? What are we going to do with ourselves? Now you have to face that person in the mirror, and that person in the mirror, you, is going to say, okay, let's work on us then. And if we can work on us, we can work on the things that can kind of get ourselves back to a sense of peace. And that the difference can only come from one way: wisdom. How do you know the difference between the things you can change and can't change? Wisdom. Where does wisdom come from? Wisdom comes from God. Knowledge can come from a book. Knowledge can come from living life. Knowledge can come from street smarts. But don't confuse knowledge with wisdom. Wisdom comes from God. Wisdom is the ability to differentiate the things we can and cannot change. Okay? That's where we have to give over to our higher power. Our higher power is where we get our wisdom from. Okay, don't be afraid to become wise. Right. Now, the second and third parts of the Serenity Prayer, what a lot of people don't know is, the longer versions, is Second part, living one day at a time. But where have I heard that before? Okay, living one day at a time. When you first start off in this journey towards serenity, I would suggest living 1 hour at a time, maybe a minute at a time. Just get through the next hour, and then we'll worry about a day. Then we'll worry about a week, then a month, and a year. Okay, one day at a time. You can get yourself down to just worrying about today, not tomorrow, not what you did yesterday, but just worrying about today. Sorry about my eyes being tired. I have a little bit of a cold. Sorry about the glasses. So one day at a time, living one day at a time, embracing today. Embrace today, love today, and just absolutely celebrate today. Enjoying one moment at a time. That's something else that we don't do often enough, do we? We get so wrapped up in long-term, what's going to happen 5 years from now, 10 years from now, a year from now, a month from now, next week. Stop and smell the roses. Who can afford roses nowadays? Stop and smell the carnations. Okay. Listen, you're going to find something out very quickly. Learn to take the wins when they come. Take the wins when you get them and enjoy one moment at a time. Okay. These little things in your life that happen every day that are wonderful things that we kind of gloss over because we're so focused on fixing something that can't be fixed. You got to stop and smell the carnations. Okay. Enjoy one moment at a time. Live one moment at a time. Okay. There's some people live a whole lifetime in a moment. Take those moments, embrace them, love them, and recognize them. Recognize those moments for the little things that they are, which is God's way of saying, hey, I'm still here, right? Accepting hardship as a pathway to peace. Oh, absolutely. You can't have the rainbow without the rain, people. You can't have the rainbow without the rain. Okay. Hardships are what get us to where we are today. Okay. You have to kind of get yourself a little muddy and do some dirty work. And then once you get yourself clean again, it's easier to stay clean because there's less work to do later on. Just again, you can't expect to open a book, say a few readings, say the Lord's Prayer, put $2 in a basket and think, okay, this is it. I got it licked. No, it's going to take some effort. The biggest effort is you actually getting off your duff and going to meetings. Okay. Although my channel is absolutely earth-shattering and mind-blowing and changes people's lives, let's make sure we actually make the effort of getting our car, getting ourselves up, going down to a meeting, and then being involved. Okay. You have to do the work. Taking, as he did, the sinful world as it is. Oh boy. He, of course, being God, taking the world, taking as he did the sinful world as it is. Okay, so if he can accept the world as being sinful and dirty and wrong and not always good, but he knows that that's the way it's going to be, then why are we trying to somehow think that we did something that causes all the problems in the world? I honestly believe that when Jesus was on the cross, dying for my sins, he looked down upon that crowd and saw each and every one of them and me at our very worst and still gave up his life for us. Okay. That being said, let's just go ahead and remember, if he can accept the sinful world as it is, so should we. Does that mean we should add to the sin? No. What I'm saying is that don't try and think that the world has to be a perfect place, because it's not a perfect place. And not as I would like it. Okay. So in other words, it's not going to be the way you want it to be, but it's the way he wants it to be. The first part of the Lord's Prayer that we always gloss over, thy will be done. Let his will be done for us. And the last part of the Serenity Prayer, trusting that he will make all things right. Well, of course, that's easy enough, right? Oh, not even a little bit. We all think that we know better. We all think we know better. Our Father who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name, thy kingdom come, thy will be done. And then what do? Take our will back. We say we're going to give him our will, and then the first thing we do is we take it back. Okay. So trust that he will make all things right. Okay? Trust the Lord. Okay. If I surrender to his will, that's what you're asking for, right? Thy will be done. You keep on saying it every meeting. Thy will be done. Thy will be done. Thy will be done. Let it happen. Listen, if you think that you hate giving up control, you're one of these people that has to be in control all the time. You know what? Give the control over this way. Say, you know what, Lord, I'm going to delegate this to you. This way, you're still kind of in control because you gave it up to Him, but you assigned the task to Him. Whatever works for you, right? That I may be reasonably happy in this world. Reasonably happy. Reasonably happy. If you look at yourself a year ago, when this all started, a year ago, 5 years ago, 10 years ago, look at yourself now. You're probably reasonably happier than you were then, right? You should be reasonably happier than you were when you first started this journey. If not, you're doing it wrong. Okay. They may be still a train wreck. Your loved ones still may be using, still may be drinking, whatever. But you should be getting better. Okay. Your path should be getting clearer. You should be able to a little more pep in your step if you're using the process and working the steps properly. Because it works if you work it. Right, Deshaun? And lastly, and supremely happily in the next. So that's already promised to us. Okay. Supremely happy in the next. I can be reasonably happy in this life, but I'll be supremely happy in the next. Right. So that's our reward. That's our reward. So I'm going to run through this whole prayer again, all at one time for you guys. And then you guys can maybe, again, most meetings, Al-Anon meetings, AE meetings, whatever, any meetings, they do the short version. God grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. Living one day at a time, enjoying one moment at a time, accepting hardship as a pathway to peace, taking as He did the sinful world as it is, not as I would like it, trusting that He will make all things right if I surrender to His will, that I may be reasonably happy in this world and supremely happy in the next. So that's the Lord's Prayer. Amen. That's the full Lord's. That's the full. I'm sorry. That's the full Serenity Prayer. And if you take it step by step, I think you guys will really see it for what it is. You know, we have a habit of hearing but not listening. We hear something, but we're not actually listen. Okay. How many times have you heard the Lord's Prayer? How many times have you heard the Serenity Prayer? But we actually ever listened to it before and actually listen to each individual word and what it's trying to say? Well, maybe that's your assignment. Your homework for this week is to go ahead and listen to the Serenity Prayer and hear it. Okay? Not just listen. Okay? So thanks for tuning in. Again, like and subscribe, like, follow, and refer. LFR. Where have I heard that before? Get this knowledge out, this wisdom out, this amazing content that I create. Just a guy trying to help some people. Out to as many people as they possibly can. All right? So please keep coming back. It works if you work it. Let it begin with who? You. And by all means, say a prayer for the prayer. Let's say a prayer for the people that no one's praying for. All right, guys? Tune in next time. We'll have some more information for you guys. All right? God bless. Have a good evening.